wild you are not the father moments on paternity court.
Did I just say use respectful language in the court? That was while I was pregnant.
Take care of my other two, and I'm gonna take care of my third.
And it looked like the sum of his family.
Not your child's biological father.
But I didn't have sex with nobody else.
This mommy here is persistent that Mr. Hudson is the only possible father of her child, even though she had confessed that she cheated on him, however, when paternity doubt hits once there is no going back.
You to believe you were her son, Jacory's biological father, then dropped a bomb and admitted she slept with someone else.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're in court to prove you are not her son's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Bridges, you admit to sleeping with another man, but claim that you have no doubt Mr. Hudson is your child's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
So let's dive into how this infidelity ride began. It turns out the mommy cheated on her man out of spite. Let's face it, no one wants to be taken for granted, thus revenge sex. The only down part is that now there is a baby out of such a wild night.
And so, Mr. Hudson, you say this bomb she dropped. When did she drop this bomb?
We had an argument, and that's when she came and she was telling me how I might not be the father and she had done these things. But I paid no attention to them because I am the father. I'm supposed to be the father. I'm here.
He was cheating on me back then, so that's the reason why I did what I did. So yes, I say he might not be the father, but I know he's the father of Jacory Hudson.
It appears the baby mama is operating on feelings rather than truly knowing that he is the baby daddy. The plaintiff was sure the connection her child shared with the alleged father was paternity proof enough. That's your testimony? His being there was his good grace, and it was not proof he was the baby daddy.
You understand that him being there has nothing to do with the biology.
Yes.
You do understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you admitted you slept with someone else.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, even in my time of deception, still stood there and took care of him.
Are you talking about the time of deception, meaning when you were deceiving her or she was deceiving you? Because both of you all had time of deception.
Up next, let's get the other guy in the courtroom. Well, Mr. Davis started when he found out about baby Jacory via Facebook. Nonetheless, since mommy needed clarification about the timeline, the other potential father also wanted a paternity test.
Miss Bridges met, we hung out for a couple of months. We ended up having unprotected sex around about 3 times. I didn't know that she was pregnant at all until I looked on Facebook one day, like a year later, and I see a picture of her son. And immediately I think her son looks like my nephew. About a year after that, she came to me. She's like, oh, well, can you tell me the days that the...
So both men are up for playing the dad part, but their doubts were coming in the way, and because of this, poor baby Jacory was suffering in this limbo. This is a really tough one, guys. Time to find the truth.
Mr. Hudson, you are not his father. Mr. Davis, you are not his father.
Promiscuity and manipulation of his girlfriend had driven Mr. Lewis to the edge of a paternity dilemma, as he refused to believe anything coming out of the F plaintiff's mouth. The only thing convincing enough for him is DNA proof.
Ms. Lester, you opened this case against Mr. Lewis because you say he denies fathering your 21-month-old son, Raiden.
Yes, Your Honor.
Only because you won't have sex with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you want Mr. Lewis to step up after today's results prove that he is the father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Up next, there is mayhem in the court, as Mr. Lewis started calling names not maintaining the decorum of the court. It's not your backyard, sir. And we know that when such notes hit, it raises Judge Lake's schooling antennae.
Jatoya is a hoe.
Did I just say use respectful language in the court?
I'm sorry, but it's just what it is.
No. It's not what it's gonna be in this courtroom.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you look crazy because you're the one sleeping with her anyway, so you're not making a point.
Thank you.
You're only making yourself look dumber.
It appeared the man was desperate to wash his hands off this child. Reality check. You've brought this upon yourself by ditching the protection. And what made things more shocking was that Mr. Lewis had convinced his girlfriend to bear him a child. But now he was standing in the court denying it all.
A baby with her while y'all were having sex, Mr. Lewis?
Never said that we was gonna have a baby. Not the first night that we reconnect when we have sex.
But did you ever say it?
At the heat of the moment,
Right.
guys say anything having sex, Your Honor. Anything.
Note to self. But if you were already having sex. Why do you need to say that?
So guys, it's been established that people would say anything they want. I mean, take this for instance. Both partners had played their fair share of cheating each other, and who was paying for it? An innocent child. It's like how wolfish you can get.
I never thought.
Yes, you did, because you kept saying you ain't pregnant, you ain't pregnant. Yes, you did. Correction. Yes, you did.
No, I
and
never
then
thought you was
the day I had my son, I did not call him because he knew the day that I was having my son because I had to get a cesarean operation.
She's lying.
I didn't contact you.
You didn't contact me.
Okay, so what am I lying about?
You didn't tell me when you was having the baby.
Yes,
or
I
none of
did.
that. No,
Yes,
you
I
did
did.
not.
Here comes another twist. The compulsive lying of baby mama wasn't the only reason that made Mr. Lewis deny the child. It turns out the defendant had lost the ability to father a child because of an accident. Cherry on top of it was that Miss Lester was engaged to another man for almost 10 years, while mommy was claiming that her part-time lover was the father.
I've been shot multiple times to where the doctors have pumped so much medicine in my body, and they told me that I couldn't have kids at all.
And since that time, you haven't fathered any other children.
No.
And that's why you feel Raiden is not your biological child.
First of all, Yana, he doesn't even look like me.
Buckle up, people! Things are about to take an even crazier turn. At this point, it is impossible to tell who is telling the truth, but one thing is sure, this drama has taken up all my sanity. Luckily, Judge Lake knows how to set such records straight.
Mr. Lewis, you are not the father.
Following the cheating parade, we have baby mama suing baby daddy for half the child rearing expenses, while Mr. Lewis is playing the same old jingle. Baby is not mine, yada yada. I don't want to do anything with the child. With that said, let the trail begin.
And this is a picture of Connor on the left, and this is a picture of Mr. Hafner's grandfather, which is your father,
Yes, Your Honor.
on the right. And you say you truly see a resemblance.
Yes, Your Honor. On a scale from 1 to 10, that's an 11, and you compare our two pictures, and that's maybe a 2.
Ms. Kelso, I have to say, it's very interesting as I listen to this family testify, this young man.
Let's introduce another guy in this mix. Yeah, there were two guys, and it is no news that's how you end up in paternity court. However, Miss Kelso had made her pick. The woman believed that Mr. Davis was the baby daddy because of the bond they both shared.
Child loves your child, and yet you're suing Mr. Davis.
I want to know who my son's father is. It's just sad that these people who have cared so much that they don't know the truth, and we're here to find out the truth because
we want to know.
My son deserves to have a father in his life, regardless of the financial expenses. He deserves to have somebody who will play with him.
However, the other baby daddy, Mr. Hafner, wasn't ready to back down that easily either. The guy came all prepared. His evidence even had convinced that he was the father because baby Connor was the spitting image of him. But hey, we have seen this show long enough to know that looks can be deceiving.
You look at these pictures, Ms. Kelso. Do you see more of a resemblance between your child and one of these men?
His nose looks like Jamal's, his eyes look like mine, his lips look like Richard, his hair looks like Jamal's. I just can't tell. They're so similar in different ways.
You are truly confused.
I am.
I can see it on your face.
I'm just absolutely confused.
After all of that, it was time to pop out that conception calendar, and it showed that the plaintiff was going to and fro between both men at the same time, which made pointing to the father without a result very hard. If you ask me, Mommy's testimony seems more emotional than rational. Well, the heart wants what it wants, I guess.
To be Richard, but I'm almost certain that it's Mr. Davis's.
Well, I wish it was a matter of preference. Are you ready for the results?
Absolutely.
I cannot rule on your lawsuit until we know if, in fact, Mr. Davis is your child's biological father, because you understand that if he is not, he has no legal obligation to financially support him.
So people, we know when infidelity gets established, there is no point in asking the same things again and again. This surely was an emotional ride, but it's finally reached its end. So it was about time to get that envelope.
Mr. Hafner, you are not the father. Mr. Davis, you are the father.
I was pregnant.
Take care of my other two, and I'm gonna take care of my third.
High school love, all sunshine and rainbows. It's more like you are the daddy, and no, I'm not. Okay, I admit I got a little carried away with that, but so did these young people, because their coziness produced a baby.
Ms. Hawthorne, Hawthorne, you are here today because you say your high school sweetheart, Mr. Brown, is a smooth-talking deadbeat who got you pregnant 3 years ago and is now denying your baby. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown, you say Ms. Hawthorne is a desperate liar who will say and do anything in order to have a family with you.
It seems that Mr. Brown was not just deadbeat, but also a compulsive cheater. What made things worse was that he had no shame about his game. FYI, his excuse of cheating wasn't doing him any good either. No, we are not exaggerating. Watch for yourself.
And you say everything was going fine.
Yes,
Until
he
what?
started cheating on me.
You started cheating, Mr. Brown?
Well, Your Honor, we was living in 2 different parts of the city. So she was living in the suburbs and I was living in the city. At the first beginning of the relationship.
What does that have to do with cheating?
A year of online dating led us to this moment in this paternity court. Quick note, all of you parents out there, keep your eyes on the children playing online. Public service message from Dr. Film. Anyway, coming back to the matter at hand, baby daddy claims to have done the deed only once in 2014, denying the baby mama's claims of going back and forth.
After you met online, did you meet up?
A year.
So it was a year?
Yes.
And then you say you lost your virginity to this man who you met online.
Yes.
Note to all the parents in the gallery whose high school kids are playing online.
Your Honor, we only had sex one time, and that was in 2014 in August.
Nah.
That only one time. We wasn't going back and forth. I wanted to continue to.
Okay.
Up next, the guy's girlfriend was introduced into this crazy equation. And taking it up step further, it got revealed that the baby daddy in question had slept with his girlfriend prior to sleeping with baby mama. Wow, that is brutal. Does he have no moral compass?
Before I came to her, I had sex with my girlfriend.
What? Okay.
You had sex with your girlfriend before you came to see Miss Hawthorne?
Correct, Your Honor.
This doesn't make any kind of sense.
And I missed my period in January. So like we were having sex around the end of November, beginning of December of 2015.
This is a shady situation.
After this judge called in the plaintiff's mother, who had been playing the father of the child, the grandma demanded that it was about time that the defendant stepped up to take care of his child, as every child deserves a loving, doting father. And that's the part where we conclude the confusion with the result.
Mr. Brown, you are not the father.
Is that a joke?
No, not your child's biological father.
But I didn't have sex with nobody else.
New fears were unlocked, as Mr. Brown was recently informed that he has been living a lie that he fathered baby Colby. Even though he had full custody, he was afraid that this revelation would separate him from his son, and his assumptions were right because Miss Stewart wanted to get her ex back.
Miss Stewart, you admit you kept the secret from Mr. Brown, but claimed the truth is the truth. And the fact is, you were secretly cheating on him, and you appear in court today to prove that the other man is the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Brown, tell us, what's at stake for you today?
Everything's at stake, Your Honor. My whole entire family knows him as theirs. I have 2 grandmas that have Alzheimer's.
So when the judge asked the plaintiff what was at stake for him, Mr. Brown told the court he could risk losing the kid, as his whole family took him as their family. And if his mother takes him away, it will ruin his life. And he can provide for the kid more efficiently than the mother.
So, Mr. Brown, tell us, what's at stake for you today?
Everything's at stake, Your Honor. My whole entire family knows him as theirs. I have 2 grandmas that have Alzheimer's that know him as their grandsons. My 14-year-old son knows him as his little brother. My house is a more stable home for him. It's a place where he's taken care of, and I know it's the better thing for him.
However, when the judge asked the alleged daddy how he found out about him not being the father, Mr. Brown told the court that after separating from him, Mommy left the kid at his place trying to move out, but instead of coming to pick Colby up herself, Miss Stewart called in the cops on him.
So what happened when she brought the police to your house?
You know, by that time, I'd already talked to 1 district attorney and 3 police officers who told me the same thing that I already knew, that by law, I did not have to give him back due to the fact I signed the paternity affidavit. I was on the birth certificate, and the cop that she brought was probably the only one on the force she could get to side with her.
So the guy was even on the birth certificate. I mean, why wouldn't he be playing the daddy part this long? But Miss Stewart was not ready to do that easily. She was in paternity court to take the child with her for once and all.
I was on the birth certificate, and the cop that she brought was probably the only one on the force she could get to side with her. And he came and told me it was in my best judgment that I give the child back. And I asked him if it was in my best judgment or if by law I had to. And he said in his opinion, he thought that I needed to, but there's nothing he could do about it. So therefore, I asked the officer to please leave my residence.
Baby mama was so addicted to the court that she knew long enough that the plaintiff was not the father and kept putting off the truth so she could be with him. But since they were separated, there was no reason to hide anything.
Why did you wait so long to tell him? Like, why not tell him before so he would have never had the child in the first place?
Your Honor, I really truly believe that my son was Mr. Brown's. Because at that time, yes, I went to another friend to comfort me. Because at this time, Mr. Brown and I had decided to take a break. So I went in that time and talked to a friend like I always do.
This was a paternity mess. Still, the judge was hung on the part that if Miss was sure about the other guy being the father, or if she was doing all of this out of spite. Because we get that a lot in this reality court, don't we? And this is how the defendant responded to the question.
Comfort and friends, and one thing led to another, and my son was conceived June 13th. So honestly, when my son was born, my son did look like Mr. Brown, and it looked like the son of his family. So that is why I have withheld, because I was happy, I was in love with him, and the fact that my son was going to be raised up in a good...
After that revelation, the judge moved to Mr. Brown to ask how he took the revelation, as I am sure he would have never seen this coming, and the plaintiff testified the same. In Mr. Brown's exact words, he was dumbfounded. Who wouldn't be?
I've lost a lot of sleep. I've shed a lot of tears over this whole situation. I mean, I'm the only thing that my boy's got.
When you first got the news from her and she dropped this bomb on you, did you say, I want a DNA test? Did you think to get a DNA test?
Yes, Your Honor. I called DHS and talked to them, and they informed me that I needed to call Child Support Recovery, because that's who does the DNA test. And
Colby's only chance at fatherhood was the guy at the podium. If he steps down, mommy will have no one to turn to. Nonetheless, the only result can determine how things will go down.
Mr. Brown, you are not the father.
I told you. I told you.
All right.